On a different front, Axios this week reported that President Trump, if he gets a second term, will sort of dial back, for lack of a better term, DEI programs that the Biden administration has put in forth. Obviously, I know you disagree with that. I obviously believe that you don't want him to get a second term. That said, if that does happen, what do you think that would do to race relations in this country?
Well, let me say we're going to win, so it's not going to happen. But I think that, listen, today is actually, I believe, an anniversary in terms of Dr. King, right? And I was just in Selma, and we acknowledged the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history, the parts that we're proud of and the parts that we're not proud of, but that we can't forget. And we should all agree that we should teach history, we should learn history if we're to ever have an accurate idea of where we want to go and where we don't want to go in the future. And that means also acknowledging the importance of diversity. It means acknowledging the importance of the fact that everyone should have equal opportunity to compete and equity. And then, of course, inclusion, that, hey, let's look around the room and see who's not here, and did we leave the door open?
I don't need a teleprompter. I've actually got thoughts in my head, unlike Kamala Harris.
Someone please call 911.
911, what's your emergency?
I'd like to report a crime. Hey, welcome back. It's your man, Wise. And yes, we got to talk about it, man. Kamala Harris, our so-called strong, independent vice president, has finally agreed to do an interview. Yeah, that's right. You heard it here. Her first big sit down since the whole election madness started. And get this, can't even do it by herself, man. She needs her emotional support governor, Tim Walz, to hold her hand through this entire thing. I mean, come on, man. Seriously? Feminists should be outraged right now. They should be outraged right now. I thought that she was just as capable, just as strong, just as great of a leader as any other man. Why is she not out here campaigning like any other man would be campaigning? Why? This is supposed to be a woman who is ready to lead this country. But she can't even handle a CNN interview by herself. And that's not all. This interview isn't even going to be live. No, it's going to be pre-recorded and heavily edited. No doubt. You better believe it. Why? Because Kamala Harris can't speak without a teleprompter, let alone handle tough questions. And let's just keep it a buck here, folks. Do you think Dana Bash, who's basically Kamala's personal PR agent, is going to ask any hard-hitting questions? I think not. This is going to be the most softball interview you've ever seen in your daggone life. This is going to be a powder puff full of just alley-oops and lobs. This is ridiculous. And again, I gotta reiterate it. If you are a feminist, if you are one of those people out there that believe that women are just as capable, just as strong, just as smart, just as intelligent, just as capable of leading this nation, y'all should be outraged right now. And I want to see more and more women on social media platforms saying and making this lady get out here and address the American people no different than any other individual that wants to be the leader of this great nation that we call the United States of America. So can we talk about optics for a second? Kamala Harris, the first female vice president, and what does she do? She drags Tim Walz, a man, to help her get through this interview on a network that's practically in her pocket. I'm not even gonna say practically. They are in her pocket. This is the same woman who's supposed to be smashing glass ceilings, but she can't even have a face-to-face interview with Dana Bash by herself. This is embarrassing, man. She is uncomfortable, so insecure that she can't even handle a pre-recorded, edited interview without backup. How is this supposed to inspire confidence in her ability to lead? Feminists should be up in arms about this. Instead of showing strength, Kamala is showing us exactly how weak she actually is.
I'm going to be, well, why isn't she doing it by herself?
Yeah, I do think people are going to bring that up. Look, I have great confidence in Dana and CNN to do this. I think it's incredibly weak sauce to show up with your running mate. The fact that they don't have enough confidence in her to let her sit herself, the actual top of the ticket, and do a single interview. In fact, I think the hand-wringing and the gyrations over this over the last month show a troubling lack of confidence in her political ability, which also makes you wonder as a voter, well, what kind of president would you be if this kind of a small-time decision, can we do an interview or not, What does that look like for your decision-making process, so on? So yes, I think Republicans are going to think it's pretty weak to show up with effectively someone to take up half the time.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely weak sauce. Outstanding phrase. Outstanding. They know she's not ready for this solo fight. This is supposed to be the woman leading the Democratic ticket. The same woman who couldn't make it past Iowa in 2020 primaries because she was so unlikable that even her own party rejected her. Do you guys remember that? Kamala Harris was supposed to be the next big thing, but she's crashed and burned so hard that she dropped out before the voting even started. And then they basically tied daggone Biden's arms behind his back and told him, you gotta pick a black woman, she's close enough, and that's how she got the job as VP. That's how unappealing that this lady is. That's how unappealing she is to Democratic voters. But now the vice president, or now she is the vice president, and Democrats want us to believe that she's ready to lead this country. I mean, cut it out. Cut it out. If you can't sit and do an interview, if you can't get up and do press conferences to run for office, what kind of presidency is she really going to run? Is it going to be the least transparent presidency that we've ever seen in the history of the United States of America? I mean, we just had a president in Joe Biden who was the least interviewed president in modern U.S. history. And now they just gave us another person who will probably be interviewed even less if she gets into office. These are the same people that told us that they would have the most transparent administration that we've ever seen in this country. These people are ridiculous, man. And the fact that you have women clamoring for this lady just drives me freaking crazy. It drives me crazy. The fact that you have women that are basically standing up and making excuses for this lady, that upsets me even more. But do you guys remember this right here from 2020?
That is rough stuff. You wrote a fantastic cover story on Kamala Harris about a month ago or so. I'm sure, based on what your reporting has been, a lot of this isn't really a surprise to you.
No, what's a surprise is that she has failed to turn it around despite literally months and months and months of hearing this kind of frustration. And you hear it, you know, it's reporters, it's people inside the campaign, it's people outside the campaign, it's pretty much every voter that you meet on the campaign trail who goes to see her. And the common theme is people want to like her, and then she doesn't close the deal. She's not able to articulate a consistent and compelling message that makes those voters who show up for her, who are interested in what she's selling, that makes them decide, yes, this is the candidate I can commit to. And the Time story and a Post story today have really laid out this frustration, especially within her team, that she hasn't been able to make those decisions.
And she's been all over the place in terms of the message. Here's a clip to show some of her kind of all over the place messaging.
Truth, justice, decency, equality, freedom. Our mother would sit up trying to figure out how to make it all work. That's something most Americans know all too well. And that's what my 3 a.m. agenda is all about.
He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump.
And now to Lou, one of the messages is she's the one who can bring back the Obama coalition.
Yeah. She's not able to articulate anything. Coconut trees, context. What the heck is she even talking about? I mean, it's kind of funny though. I'm not going to lie. The fake news media basically admitted back in 2020 when she was running for president that she's got no real plan and that her campaign is a mess. Nothing's changed, guys. Absolutely nothing has changed. And what about this upcoming debate? Do you honestly think that she's going to go? Do you think this is going to happen? I mean, let's just keep it real. Do you think that she's going to show up by herself for that? I don't think so. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if she tries to, put it in there that maybe, I guess, Tim Walz can sit next to her and he can whisper in her ear, when she gets asked a question. Who knows? If Kamala can't sit down and handle that, I don't understand it. I don't understand why she's in this race. This is CNN that we're talking about, right? They're going to help her out in every shape, way, form, or fashion. We know this. Do you really think that she's going to be able to, stand on a debate stage across from Donald Trump if she can't handle a cream puff interview with CNN by herself? That's why she's trying to change these rules at the last minute, though. She might even try to back out the thing entirely. And the fact that here we are, less than 3 months from the election and we're only going to get one debate, that right there in itself is a problem, but she'll probably back out, and cite some bogus reason that the media, will happily parrot in her favor. Remember when Trump debated Hillary Clinton? He towered over her, both physically and in terms of presence. And let's not forget, Trump's been through the ringer. He gets grilled by the media every single day, and he holds his own. Kamala, on the other hand, hides from the press, avoids hard questions, and needs a team to prep her for every possible scenario. And the press, well, they don't care because they know the moment she's out there talking to the people without someone to hold her hand, it's game over. She's not a leader. She's a follower. Seems to me like she's probably a puppet. I'd like to know who's actually holding the strings, but I guess that's something we'll probably never find out. She's someone who's been promoted not because of her capabilities, but because of her identity, because of what she looks like and the fact that she's a woman. That's why she wants cheat sheets and note cards and, I would assume some form of earbud in her ear so someone can, whisper things in her ear when need be. That's why she wants someone by her side when she does this interview. She knows she can't do this on her own. This woman has been hiding from the press for weeks, over 40 days, since she's been installed. Earth-shattering developments have been happening in the Democratic race, and we've been left wondering who's really running the country right now. How did she become the nominee? And what does she actually have in store for us if she wins? And to be honest with you, my guess is she couldn't even tell you what she has in store because these ideas are not hers. You'd think she'd be eager to address these questions, but instead, she's been radio silent. So let's keep it real here. Kamala Harris isn't good at interviews. She's not good at debates. And the Democrats, along with her campaign, they know this. That's why they're giving us the bare minimum. One interview, one debate, that's it. And they're going to try to rig the rules in her favor as much as they possibly can, just like they did in the last debate with Trump. They're hoping she can just eke by without making a complete fool of herself. But really takes the cake is how she and her handlers are trying to spin this as a strength, though. They're going to act like this is some grand strategy that she's being smart by doing this. We all know what it really is. Kamala Harris is so out of her depth that she needs all the help that she can get. And the Democrats are scrambling to cover for her because they know she is a weak candidate. She's weak sauce. She's phony. As my guy down in Atlanta said, she counterfeit. The Democrats expect us to believe that Kamala Harris is ready to take on the world leaders, to face the likes of Putin and Xi Jinping and any other world leader out there. She can't even do an interview without training wheels. I mean, come on, man, stop it. Folks should be infuriated, to be honest with you. They really should. And to be honest with you, the way things are going, the media, they're making themselves look worse and worse. Because the media, the way they've downplayed this, the way they've acted like this is normal and it's perfectly okay for the vice president to need this kind of crutch, and there's a very small amount of people calling her out for this, and they're trying to act like it's normal, but we know it's not normal. This entire situation should not inspire confidence in the American people. It certainly doesn't inspire confidence in me. I mean, we're supposed to be celebrating the possibility of our first female president, and yet she can't even do a sit-down interview on her own. She can't even do a daggone press conference on her own. They will not allow the American people to ask her questions. See, these are all the things that Trump's been doing for years now. There's been multiple rallies where the people got in line and asked President Trump questions, and he had no problem right there on the spot, off the top of the head, answering their questions. These people are ridiculous, man. And the way that she's going about things, it's not how the presidency is supposed to work. It's not how someone is supposed to run a campaign that wants the vote of the people. The presidency is about leadership. It's about standing on your own 2 feet, and it's about making tough decisions without someone there to hold your hand. Think about this, man. Ultimately, the president is the person that gets all the suggestions, but they are the one that makes the final decision. And then they got to go stand on that. And then they got to go speak to the press about the decision that was made, why they made it, or why they chose not to make it. But instead, Kamala Harris needs a big white blankie, Tim Walz, right next to her for every interview. I mean, this is embarrassing. It really is. And what's so astounding here is that the only skill required in politics is the ability to speak. That's it. That's how politics work. But Kamala Harris, she can't do it. She can't speak without contradicting herself, without the nervous cackle going on, without relying on, incoherent babble, or without that trusty teleprompter, you know, she's in trouble. And that's why there are so many famous clips of, you know, Kamala, you know, out there talking nonsense about being unburdened by what has been and the importance of Venn diagrams and so forth and so on, man. But I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Consider joining the ARP family. It supports me to team the channel. It gives us the ability to do what we do on a day-to-day basis. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up, and we'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.